Americans are going to see a surge in cases in less than 30 days as a stern warning has just recently been raised for 2024. Now, if you guys recall, the health crisis caused many flights to be canceled. There was even talks of banning flights coming from parts of Asia, primarily with China, as some suspected that the virus originated there. Now, with the holidays now behind us, we're now getting warning after warning of cases surging in different parts of the country. Now, this includes states like New Mexico, Georgia, Alabama, California, Texas, New York, and well, pretty much every other state is facing a crisis at this point, just at different levels. It's now at a point where we're seeing lawmakers pushing for the White House to just go ahead and outright restrict and ban travel between the United States and China. Now, believe me when I say that all of this could have a lasting impact on Americans across the nation once again.
Senators calling on the Biden administration to temporarily restrict travel between the U.S. and China as pediatric pneumonia cases go up, and similar outbreaks are being monitored worldwide. However, the CDC and the World Health Organization say there's no need to panic. Public health officials blame the spike in pneumonia and RSV cases on the regular cold and flu season, just a regular season. Joining us now is Senator Mike Braun of Indiana, one of 5 senators backing that proposed travel ban. Thank you so much, Senator, for being with us. With those words from the CDC and the World Health Organization, even in light of the fact that more Americans are skeptical of big pharma, they're skeptical of these particular health agencies in light of the past few years, why do you think a ban is necessary at this time?
I think you can just look back to what was the biggest healthcare crisis in 100 years and how that all evolved. I think that when you're dealing with somebody like the CCP, you even look at trade as an underlying reason. There's so many things that don't make what they say believable, like a handshake deal of some sort. You know, believe us. Look at how long it took, and we never did get to the bottom of the connection between what happened in the lab and COVID-19. So I think here it's very simple. Ounce of prevention's worth a pound of cure. And if we were dealing with someone that was inherently trustworthy, the WHO, World Health Organization, was kind of just a mouthpiece for the Chinese Communist Party. I don't think you can put much credibility there either.
Do you guys think that that's fair? Because it looks like these lawmakers want to pin the blame of these surges in cases primarily on China. However, I think it's also important to note what China themselves are saying about all this. Now, before we even get to what China's saying, I want to go ahead and ask you guys a very important question. I mean, we're seeing mandates return to different parts of the world. We're even seeing in our hospital systems. Now, with that, do you think that we're going to be seeing mandates at a federal level returned if things get worse? And maybe if we see even more respiratory illnesses surge? Comment a yes or no on that one. And while you guys think about it, don't forget to hit the like button for the video and subscribe to the channel. That way you don't miss out on future videos and updates. Now, going back to what I was saying just a second ago, what is China saying about these cases that we're now seeing? Well, the NHC, or the National Health Commission of China, they're reporting a very significant rise in influenza cases. Basically, they're saying that this is the leading cause for respiratory disease in the country recently.
At hospital emergency rooms, the sick children just keep coming. From toddlers to teens, mostly with respiratory infections, including pneumonia. It's been 10 days now, this mother says, and the fever is back. Health officials say the surge is happening not just here in Beijing, but in clusters across northern China.
This is one of the biggest children's hospitals in this city, and it's full of kids who are coughing, hooked up to IV bags, or still waiting to get treatment.
The headlines here about a respiratory disease outbreak triggered alarm bells and prompted the World Health Organization to ask Chinese authorities for answers. The WHO said China shared its data that showed no sign of a new disease so far, saying in a statement, the reported symptoms are common to several respiratory diseases.
Now, again, the message is the same. Even though cases are rising, there's nothing to be afraid of. Well, that was until the end of December 2023, where the NHC suddenly warned that we could see an explosive surge in travel expected for the Lunar New Year in February that could ultimately result in C-19 infections exploding and possibly the risk of severe illness and death. That doesn't sound very good, does it? This also isn't very good news for them, given that they've been experiencing overcrowding in their hospitals, primarily because of young younger patients. Now, even though we're talking about all this stuff and that the numbers of these cases are slowly declining and dwindling, they also admitted that millions are expected to travel around the world for the Lunar New Year, which is February 2024, traditionally one of China's biggest and most important holidays of the year. Now, one of the biggest issues here that many experts have at this time is that there's this new variant called JN1. And while we're not seeing cases as severe compared to previous C19 variants, we are seeing an explosion in numbers as it's been found to be a little bit more contagious. Okay, a lot more contagious. It's so contagious that it's believed that almost half of C19 infections globally are stemming from the JN.1 variant.
CDC data estimates that quickly spreading COVID variant is now causing almost half of infections nationwide. This is a major shift, considering just about 2 weeks ago, it was estimated that JN.1 only caused about 20% of COVID infections. Let's get some more insight on why this variant is seeing a big rise. We had the holiday gatherings likely playing a big part. Our local infectious disease specialist, Dr. Dee Banks, is here. Thank you so much for joining us here live at 5, taking the time.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you know we have to live with it, but this did catch our attention. Doesn't matter who you talk to. They know someone or are someone that just had COVID, and it's really touching a lot of folks. JN.1 makes up about 57% of the COVID
rising.
infections.
44 to 50%.
So what's causing the increase so quick?
Well, World Health Organization put out information that the JN1 variant was a variant of interest. We kind of knew that, those of us in the field, at the end of November. And there may be a couple of things that are causing the spread. Number one, it may be more transmissible. Number two, it's evading our immune system. And number three, there might be some evidence to show, even though we're early into this, that the mutation on the spike protein might make it a little bit more adaptable to attacking the respiratory cells, so making it more efficient to infect us.
Now, besides that, there's also another concern of what's being called the never-ending illness. I mean, you guys can confirm it, especially with the recent holidays that we've seen, right? If you've had a get-together with friends or family, there's at least one friend, maybe a relative, that's almost always coughing or has the sniffles. You ever notice that? Maybe somebody in the gym constantly coughing and hacking everywhere? Well, tell you what, if you noticed this recently, comment a 1, okay? Now, lastly, we're gonna talk about the borders. Not exactly about the refugees seeking asylum, but more about how they seem to just remain open even though some lawmakers are calling for travel bans. You see, even if travel bans are implemented for certain countries of concern, it's really not going to stop the influx of different people coming through our own borders who may possibly also be sick with the C19 virus or something similar or even worse. But should we be worried? Well, I guess that's a question mostly subjective given that, we have all these different circumstances, but I will say that if you're feeling a little bit sick, it wouldn't hurt to take a break, take a sick day or two, recuperate, you know what I'm saying? So with all that being said, what are you guys' thoughts on everything? Make sure you guys let me know down in the comment section down below. And before I go, I want to thank you guys for hanging out. Thanks for liking the video. Thank you for subscribing, and I will see you on the next one.